Hi, I'm going to show you how to create this canvas from the canvas kit that I've set up for some of you to buy. So I'll just show you what we're going to do now. I'm going to show you how we add the mermaid's tail and the MDF shapes that we've got here and the rock formation. So first of all, when you get your canvas, you're going to paint it over with white paint, so you can use acrylic, gesso, anything like that. And you've got some kitchen roll in your kit, so just tear it into strips, and we're going to use this to form the rocks. So we'll just get some PVA glue. Again, you can use glue or you can use some of your white paint. Now I'm just going to spread that around a little bit with my finger. And now I'm going to add the strips of the tissue, just scrunch it up and just lay it over the glue or the paint. And it's up to you how you form your mountains that are going to be under the sea picture. Add a little bit more glue on the top. I'm just going to spread that over with my brush because I want to stick this down, but I don't want it flat, so it's going to be raised because it'll dry raised and bumpy then and give you that rock effect. You don't need a great deal of glue, but just enough to hold it all in place, as you can see there. So just touch up a little bit of the glue there. Right. So what you'll have to do then is, when you've done all the rocks, you just leave that to dry. Depending on how much glue, that dictates how long it'll take to dry. Now if you've got a stencil, there isn't one included in this kit, but if you've got a stencil, you can now add a bit of texture to your canvas. So I'm just using some fine texture paste. I have actually included in the kit a little pot of the texture powder, which you just mix with some water till you create a paste, and you can either use the stencil paste freehand on your canvas or as I'm doing through a stencil. So just do that in a few areas, if you can see there. I don't know if you can see it through the light. Then I'll just pop that to one side and wipe off my stencil paste. And this is one that I prepared last night, so I've done all my rock formation, I've got my stenciling on there with the texture paste, that's dry, that feels quite hard now, so you've got that rocky sort of feel to the scene. So now this is ready for us to actually start painting. So I've got my brush ready and my paint ready, so you're literally just going to brush it all over. Now I'm using the blue as it comes out of the container. If you wanted, you can add it some other colours to it just to create a slightly different shade. And at the moment I'm just going over everything on the canvas in the blue. So I'm going over the texture bits I did with the stencil paste. We'll just give it all a really good coverage. Obviously if you've got other paints in your stash, you can use those on here. These are just acrylic paints, so you get 4 paints in your kit. But obviously if you've got more colours, you can just add them all on. So go over all of the canvas with the blue. And it's lovely how once you start adding the paint, you can start to see the canvas taking shape. Now in the tubes of paint, there is actually quite a bit of paint, but as you can see here, we don't really use a lot of paint. So once you've done this canvas, you are going to have a lot of paint left over, so you can probably do another 3 or 4 canvases. So that's the blue pretty much done there. If you see bits of white poking through from the canvas, obviously just go over it. To all the little corners and on the edges as well. So that's pretty much done there. So I'm just going to wipe my brush off. Now I'm going to pick up the brown and I'm going to just dab this over the rocky bit that we've done with the dried tissue. I'm sort of stenciling it on just to get it into the cracks and the crevices. I'm just going to go around the outline first and then go into the body of the rocks. And this is where it all really starts to take shape and starts to look a little bit more lifelike. Again, if you don't like the brown to be so dark, you could add a bit of white in just to tone the colour down a bit. The brush that you get in the kit is a thickish one, so you've got good coverage with the brush. The only thing you might have to watch out for is in case some of the bristles come out, then obviously just pick those out of your paint so it doesn't spoil the look of your canvas. Now if you notice with this brown, I'm not getting into every single little bit of the dried tissue. I'm letting some of the white show through, and that just helps to give it that bit of texture, bit of ruggedness look. Just touch up a little bits and pieces that you can see. That's nearly done now. So just go around the corners, the edges, any bits you feel you might need to add. So again, clean off my brush. Now I'm going to pick up a little bit of white and just dot that around, again just for a bit of highlighting on the rocks. It's just randomly added. I'm just going to add a little bit of the white into the blue as well, just to make it look a little bit different. So I'm just picking up a bit of blue then to soften the white. And just blend that all in. That's it. So now I'm happy with that. Clean my brush off again. Now I've got a slightly different brush here, which is a thinner one, sort of a straight edge. I'm just going to pick up a bit of the green, and now I'm going to freehand start to add in the sort of weeds and greenery that there is under the sea. Now you could use a fine brush, or you could use the edge of a palette knife or something like that, or even a cocktail stick, although that would take a bit longer. So just add those wherever you want. Can you imagine what it might look like under the sea? And of course it would be lovely that when you have made your canvases, if you were to send us your pictures, to perhaps you can post them on our Facebook page on Craft All Day, that would be lovely to see. So where I'd use the stencil paste through the stencil now, I'm just highlighting some of those bits so it looks like bits of sort of weeds and stuff that are just hanging down in the water. But if you didn't use the stencil paste, then you could just do this yourself freehand. Get rid of that loose bristle. And you can see as well that actually these canvases, once you've got all your bits together around you, it doesn't really take very long to put together. So just going over that other bit of stencil paste that I used. Just a touch more there into the little crevices. Sort of move them about, make them look like they're moving in the water. So now I'm going to start adding bits. So in the kit you will get two MDF shapes. It could be either the anchor and the boat, or an anchor and a mermaid. Sorry, not a mermaid, a seahorse. So here I've already painted the pirate ship and the anchor with some brown paint. So I'm using my glue gun now just to add those. And I would recommend a glue gun rather than any other glue, because this will be strong enough to hold everything. And now the mermaid's tail that you get, I've already coloured that with my paints and added some glitter to it. And with the glue gun I'm going to stick that at the top to make it look like she's just obviously been bobbing out of the water. In the kit you'll get a selection of shells, and so now again with the glue gun we'll just add those in place. To just randomly stick them down. Again, you might have other bits and pieces in your craft stash that you might want to add. Perhaps if you've got flour soft at home, you could add some of that as a bit of texture in amongst the rocks and the weeds and the shells. So you're just going to randomly put the shells on. Just add another glue stick. And then just remove the little wispy bits of the glue. Although to be honest I quite like them because I think it just adds to the texture and the look. So now I'm just going to pick up a little bit of PVA glue, which I'm just going to dot around on the canvas. So I've got it in the sea. And then like a little bit on the rocks, on the ship and the anchor. Now I'm going to add the little tiny beads that you get in the kit. Now I was going to do it over the paper, but I've realised that actually they would go all over the place. So what I would recommend is that you get a deep plastic box, like the one I'm just about to use. So put your canvas in there, then pour your beads over wherever you've had the PVA glue. And then the excess beads then that we'll shake off will actually go into the box, because what you will find is that they're very, very tiny, but they do tend to jump about, so you do need like a deepish box, otherwise they'll be jumping out of the box and you'll lose the excess. So once we're happy with putting those on, just shake them off into the box, and then obviously we can save those for later. add a little bit of glitter. You'll get a little pot of very, very fine glitter in your kit. So where I've still got some like wet paint or glue or whatever, I'm just going to add a little bit of glitter. And again, the little pot that you get in the kit, that glitter will last you for quite a while, but you only need a tiny little bit on it. Always remember to put the lid on your glitter so you don't knock it over and it lands up everywhere. And that is your under the sea canvas done. So I hope you have fun with your kit.